Time trials remain steadfast as one of the main ways players compete in Mario Kart Wii. Its 3-lap and fast lap category leaderboards are documented extensively on MarioKart64.com, or the players page. As part of this players page, there is also a set of time trial standards for each course in the game, a series of times progressing in difficulty and aligned to a number of ranks. These standards give players goals to work towards as they progress in skill level through the game. They were set in 2009, remaining as a pillar of the community and a set of goalposts for countless individuals throughout their 16-year tenure. But now, they're changing. The standards, which are currently in use, were established in early 2009, and were considered perfect by players at the time. This forum thread, which is still visible today, can be seen to go in depth about discussing potential perfect times for each category at the time. It's no secret that over time, a lot of these standards have become easy to achieve. Tracks such as Coconut Mall, for example, where a glitch was discovered right after the standards were set, and all that's needed to achieve the highest rank is to get out of bounds and complete just one run. Other tracks remain unburdened by the ever-growing glitch landscape of the game, and those standards remain as pillars of perfection, with only a few select players having achieved their god standards. In February 2024, player Logan became the first and still only player to achieve a perfect timesheet on the Mario Kart Wii players page, getting a god time in every 3-lap and fast lap, no shortcut and unrestricted categories. Over the years, new glitches and strategies have been found, developed and implemented, which have effectively lowered the threshold needed to achieve a better time on each track. And that's not to mention the general skill level of the community rising as people put more and more time into practicing tech within the game. It's been through this pushing of each category that there has become a ravine of disconnect appearing between the player's idea of perfect times now and the ideas of perfect times 16 years ago. This disconnect has led to brief moments of community discussion surrounding the topic of these standards over the past decade and a half, with no action being taken. But on the 21st of December 2025, it was announced in the Time Trial Discord server that there was a new standards discussion channel opening to talk about the players page standards. This felt like it came out of nowhere, but at least the whole community is now able to contribute with their own thoughts of what the new time should be. And if you want to help decide the new standards, there are now a number of public threads on Discord discussing the category specific standards for each course. While we are still far from a decision on the new standard times, it has been decided that there will be an increased number of standard ranks, and different name conventions as the new system is implemented. We currently have the ranks Newbie and God at each end of the spectrum, and the ranks Beginner, Apprentice, Intermediate, Expert, Hero, King, Legend and Myth at levels A through D for a total of 34 levels. The new proposed standards will remain using Newbie and God at the top and tail end of the standards, but instead will shift to Novice, Beginner, Intermediate, Amateur, Advanced, Expert, Elite, Pro and Master, with ranks A to D, and then Grandmaster and God as the final 2 steps at the top end of the standard system. This change effectively increases the number of levels from 34 to 39, and shifts every standard lower in terms of time value than their former counterparts. The hope is that these standards will be better aligned with the 2026 player base's level of skill, and enable new players to climb lower ranks easier as they first approach time trialing. But one could argue that the player base lacks the size to justify a shift to new standards. Back when the standards were set, in the year following the game's release, there was an active player base of around 15 million people. And now, by every metric, we're down to a number hovering around a few thousand, with active time trialers making up a much smaller percentage of that number. Those are the facts. What I'm about to say is my own opinion, as a former world record holder, veteran of the community and current active high-level time trialer. I will leave this opinion on screen until I'm done with my thoughts. It's unfortunate in my eyes that the actual decision to go ahead and move forward with changing the standards at all appeared to happen behind the scenes. Only one person has a perfect god sheet within Mario Kart Wii, a feat which was pushed for over the course of a multitude of years. Logan remains as the standalone player to have completed the absolutely monumental task of grinding for a perfect timesheet, and changing the standards could undermine just how impressive this feat was, and remains to this day. Let's compare Mario Kart Wii's standard sheet to other titles in the series. Mario Kart Super Circuit has 4. Mario Kart 64 has 46 god sheets, Mario Kart DS has just 1, and Double Dash has 26. By this metric, it's not the case that a god sheet is easy or easier to achieve in Mario Kart Wii when put into the context with equivalent titles and leaderboards. So why change it? On a more personal note, I have also begun to grind for a god sheet, a loose video concept that started in the middle of last year that was already going to take years to complete. There have been whispers of the standards changing over the years, but no discussions started. And then, as I start to find happiness in the pace of grinding this game, the rug is effectively pulled out from under me, and that video series might have to stop. I am 100% sure there is no malicious intent behind this, but there's no denying that the timing really does just suck. While I know I'm not the greatest player to touch the game, the god standards, which I've been grinding for, have been just that. Grinds. Rainbow Road took me over 60 hours, and Cooper Cape took me multiple weeks as well. To me, the current standards are fine. Equally, if you were to show many of the god standard times which have been achieved today to a player in 2009, their mind would be blown, and I'm sure many of them would agree that the driving standards and strategies used constitute enough to have earned that player the god rank in those cases. On the other hand, I can see why updating the times makes sense. As I showed in my previous video, many of the standards can be cheesed, and the current world records far exceed what was thought to be possible in 2009. The question really comes down to whether that argument is enough to justify changing the standards which have stood for so long. I'm obviously biased towards the standards remaining as they are, a testament to a time gone by and a fun mix of attainable alongside the downright near impossible. But, unfortunately for me, the decision to change the standards seems to have already been decided, and discussions are underway in the time trial server to form the new standards for each track. I'll leave you with this thought. Should an individual be able to accomplish a full god sheet on the player's page? According to other Mario Kart titles, the answer is yes. Currently, in Mario Kart Wii, one player has barely been able to do that, which to me signifies a good level of standards across the site. If or when these new standards are set, I'm worried that the chase for a perfect timesheet will be so far out of reach, so unattainable, that players will simply not try at all. But of course, I'm curious to hear your take on the matter as well. So let me know in the comments what you think. Should they be changed? And what are your arguments for or against that decision? For now, all I can hope for is a good year of Mario Karting before the new standards discussion concludes and I'm doomed to be an amateur time trialer into my retirement. If you watched this video and it's still January 2026, then there's a good chance I'm live right now, because it is my absolute pleasure to announce that my Mario Kart Wii 32-track Skipsathon is live, where I'm literally not ending stream until I achieve the world record in the most broken speedrun category that this game has to offer. Last year, my world record marathon stream was 476 hours long, and almost broke me. So hopefully I'll see you there with the link in the description as we make history together. Thanks for watching, and make sure you're subscribed for the latest Mario Kart content.